Hello YouTube. Today's video is gonna demonstrate how awesome F5 CIS works with OpenShift. And so I'm creating this video because we are actually in the process of validating. That's meaning F5 development is validating OpenShift 4.10 with CIS, right? And that would be with OpenShift 4.10 with CIS using Node port, with CIS using OpenShift SDN, as well as OpenShift 4.10 using OVN Kubernetes, specifically in hybrid. But what I want to demonstrate here is a very, very, very quick demo of how awesome OpenShift routes are with Big IP CIS, right? It's actually really simple. We've done some next generation routes, and that was my previous video. So if you want to talk a little bit about next generation routes, or if you want to look more into it, I actually have a video on that. You can go and take a look. You can test it because it's been released now as part of CIS 2.9. So what I want to do first is, as you can see here within OpenShift, it's the latest version of OpenShift. You can see here that we have no routes, right? So this is the default namespace, default project. I don't have any routes created. And if I go look on Big IP, there is no routes for the OpenShift tenant, that OpenShift namespace. And so I cannot connect to my application. My whole goal here is to connect to my pods that are running in OpenShift. So if I go take a look at these pods and do an OC-get pods, I should have 3 pods here. So what I've got here is an application called Coffee, Mocha, and Tea. It's 3 deployments, each deployment with 2 pods. And I can replicate that. But I want to ingress traffic to these pods. I have Big IP that is front-end in my OpenShift cluster. It's pretty simple. All I need to do now is I want to create a route inside OpenShift, and I want within that route to push or plumb or configure Big IP with a virtual IP or a public IP address, and then load balance to these 3 services. So I've exposed 3 endpoints. I want to put those endpoints on Big IP. Now, OpenShift router uses 1 public IP address. If you want to use multiple public IPs and still use OpenShift routes, you need to use what we call our OpenShift next generation routes. But if you just want to use L7 routing, then you can use 2.9 with OpenShift and just create a very, very, very simple route. So let me show you how this works. So right now, if I go take a look at our routes, you can see here we've got 3 routes that I'm going to create. We've got a route for coffee, mocha, and tea. Let's take a look at the quick route. You can see it's of kind route. And right here, my namespace is default. And my CIS is just watching default namespace. It's not looking at any other namespaces. It's only watching this namespace. You can also use a label. You can use a route label as well. But, you know, we're ingressing traffic. So only traffic that is interesting only needs to be ingressed. So do some pruning or some namespace isolation. Just specify the namespaces that you need. So you can see here what I'm also doing is I'm doing SSL termination. So everything coming in across the internet to my Big IP is encrypted. Everything on the back end is clear text. My Big IP is sitting within the same ESX cluster. So it's going across an encrypted VLAN, which is using VXLAN at this point. So that's why I'm just doing edge termination here. You can see my target port, my host, and my path. So it's L7 routes. Difference here is the coffee service, and of course the /coffee for the path. If I go back and take a look at the second one, the difference being here is that it is a Mocha service, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm just keep on creating these routes. Everything's the same. The only difference here is that I am doing a keep alive or a health of the app, checking the Mocha service to make sure that that I can do everything I need. So use case, edge termination, HTTP to HTTPS redirect, health monitoring to the actual node based on the path with the correct interval, and then clear text on the back end. And we're using latest CIS, latest OpenShift. Let's go ahead and test this. So as you can see, no routes, no configuration on Big IP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and monitor the API. I'm monitoring the API. This is the API between CIS and Big IP. And I'm going to go ahead and create these routes. So we'll do an OC create. What I want to do is I actually want to just switch over here. We'll do and I'm going to move this over so you can actually see how fast these routes actually show up. Right now, no routes. So OC create -F. Let's create all three of them at the same time. Look at that, guys. As soon as you create it, it is automatically registered on OpenShift. It's an accepted route. If there was a problem with the route, it would not be accepted. It would not be connected, right? So we actually are monitoring the API. You can actually see here within the API that we've actually created a configuration of success, got that code back of 200, fed that up to OpenShift, right? And then we're able to connect to the app. And this is an ongoing connection here for coffee. If I want to go and also get mocha, there is mocha. This is ongoing. If I wanted to get tea, I could then go ahead and get tea. So as you can see, the three apps right there. There is the OpenShift routes right away registered. That took less than a second for it to show up. This is very, very, very cool. We've done a lot of work to optimize OpenShift routes. We really have done a lot of work. And so I wanted to kind of show this because I think that using CIS 2.9 with OpenShift routes, even if you want to use the latest version of OpenShift 4.10, you're fine. On Big IP, you can kind of see the routes show up. Now we can go take a look on Big IP. You can see right here, one virtual IP. If I go into Big IP and look at the resources, you can see right here, this is kind of how we do it. We create something called a policy, and within our policy, we actually look for something called tea, mocha, or coffee, and then we actually send you to one of the pool members. You can see we have 3 pool members here, each with its own members. And that's how we do it. So CIS takes all of the service discovery. CIS does all of the service discovery. If I take down one of these pods, it will automatically be detected, and we will see a potential change in here as well. So the actual physical dashboard itself. So this is what I wanted to show. If I remove these routes, it will be instantaneous. So if I go ahead and do an OC delete -F, the routes, it's gone right away. And again, I'm creating 3, I could create 30, I could create 300. It's the same thing, right? Whether you create 1, these are just routes. You can see right here that Big IP is automated. It's gone. It's been removed. So that's what I wanted to demo. If you want to be able to configure this, it's very easy. Here's the route configuration. Here is the CIS configuration. You can see what I'm doing here is I'm importing the latest CIS image from Red Hat, from the registry Red Hat. I'm connecting to my Big IP. I've created that OpenShift partition. I am using namespace default. You can add many namespaces here, or you can use route label. I'm using cluster IP with OpenShift SDN. Because I'm running in development mode, I'm setting this to debug, but recommend set this to like an info level. I'm managing routes as true. There is my virtual IP address right there. That's all you need. And right there is my override, which I'm not using. So that's the configuration. That's basically all you need. to do that. I'll go enable this again. Right there. And I can connect. You can see that you can see how it's incrementing. You see that date, it's changing there, the time. And there's a cookie in place, so that's why. Auto refresh right here, there's a cookie in place. It's kind of stuck to the back end there. We'll do the same here. There we go. And the same for D. That is pretty cool. I really like that. If you guys need any help, you know how to get hold of me. If you want to see other videos like this, please let me know. Make sure you like and subscribe. I am slowly moving up those subscribers. My goal is to get to 1,000. So if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. It really helps. And if you want to see other cool demos where Kubernetes or even Big IP's next generation platform, I'm starting to work on that, automation, orchestration for Big IP, please let me know. Put a comment down there. If you think this is really great, also comment as well. If you want to see something different, let me know. But thank you so much.